This
Hi,
conference
Jolisa.
will
Good to
now
see
be
you.
recorded.
All right, there you go. Are you willing to, you understand that this is being recorded and that's okay with you,
I do.
Jolisa?
Yes, it's a little scary, but I'm
All
doing it.
right. So, oh, I'm glad you volunteered. And this is Forgiveness Wednesday, where we're doing as many live stream EPT sessions as we can during this time of stay at home. So I'm glad you volunteered to be my client today. I'm Sherry Hamilton. I'm coming from Huntsville, Alabama, and I've been an EPT practitioner for about 25 years. I really enjoy it. And it's all about identifying the thing that's bugging you now that has an original memory in you. So we identify the original memory, go into resolve the original memory using forgiveness. And you can see as that happens during the session with Jolisa. Jolisa is also a practitioner. You want to introduce yourself, Jolisa?
Hi, I'm Jolisa Stewart, and I've been an EPT practitioner since about 2007. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I enjoy working with everybody, but mostly infants, toddlers, and their families.
That's awesome. Love working with kids too. Okay, so we're going to get right into your session today. What is it that you want to work on today for your session?
I want to work on weight gain, especially since the COVID stay-at-home order and outbreak. So I think it's like
All right.
comfort eating, stress eating, panic eating. Oh my gosh, I might not ever have this again. I need to eat it, eating. But I know stress and, the nervous system will, cause you to hold weight or pack on weight. And I'm a pretty healthy eater,
Right.
and I don't eat large portions, but my zipper on my pants doesn't work anymore.
Uh-oh. I lost part of your audio. Hopefully that
Oh,
doesn't
you
keep
did?
happening.
Okay.
All right. Oh, now I can hear you. You're talking
You
about your
can,
zipper. Maybe that was your last
oh,
comment.
that
It
was
may
my
just be
last
the
thing.
delay.
Yeah. Yeah, my zipper doesn't work anymore because my pants won't zip.
All right. I think there's, right. Right. I think it's just a delay. And because I know you are very disciplined with your diet. So this is out of normal for you.
It is out of normal for me.
All
And
right.
and there is a big
All
delay.
right. So, oh, go ahead. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking for I have magnet covers. This would be the blue green side, and then the red side stands in for the south pole of the magnet, and the blue-green side, which are white on mine, and is the North Pole side of the magnet. And you have magnets because you're a practitioner. I also am putting a infratonic sound machine on me that helps my energy field reset and stay calibrated and even while we're doing this long distance session. All right, and I'm going to use the charts that are part of EPT to help me as I go along. So we're just going to focus on the weight gain, like you said, since the COVID stay at home, the stress of it, the comfort that you're getting from eating comfort foods, maybe more than you're used to. The panic, you mentioned panic at this time. The I put out of control because
Well,
those are the things that are outside your control.
right. Well, I said panic because when you went to the store, I mean, we went to the store as soon as we thought this might happen, we just went to the store and stocked up for 6 weeks. There really wasn't anything that we couldn't find. but each week we would, go to the store and get little select items that, we needed for a recipe. And we got there and the shelves are bare.
Wow. Yeah.
So it
And I know
created
that's
kind of like,
varied around the country.
yeah, it created kind of like a famine effect. Like, I better eat it or I better have it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll see if that shows up, the famine effect with bare shelves. Had you ever uh, experienced a famine or bare shelves before?
No,
Okay. All right.
no, but
Not a food famine, but possibly.
oh, the possibilities other than food are probably endless.
Right, which is what we usually oftentimes look at in EPT. Where is love flowing? And love can be
Right.
have a lot of meanings, which could be, it's there in full. So that might be what we end up finding. I don't know. We'll see what the stress brings up in your body. So just thinking about all that stuff that you just described to
Hmm.
me, I'm going to do muscle testing on this side that the distress is at a 10 in you. The elation, there's no elation on that. Stage of healing is 1 out of 1 through 7. Showing up is the issue, which would be, being in present time and actually deciding how much of this I'm going to eat rather than eating it just to eat it.
Hmm.
Thinking of that, how many issues is 1 issue. Let's go ahead and do rapport with your magnets, where you
Okay.
take the blue-green side of the magnet and put toward your head, and you're going to do 3 breaths in and out and squeeze gently on the inhale. Breath 1, and you release on the exhale and breathe in. Gently squeeze, release, and breathe 3, and then release. And then we're going to do 3 more breaths where you put a finger at the bridge of your nose and a finger at the very base of your skull, and you squeeze in and lift up on the inhale and release on the exhale. You're going to do 2 more of those. And breathe. And when you're done with your 3rd breath that way, then remove the magnets. And I'm going to ask you to think about that stress that you were talking about in the weight gain. Thinking about that, I do a 2-point who comes up as you or the who. So I'm just going through my chart here, Jaleesa. Then I'm going to go on my organs to find the strengthening organ. That'll identify the emotion for me. Lost, abandon. I go down the chart. The emotion is abandon. And then I'm going to ask, is this your abandonment or someone else's? I normally do this without saying it out loud, but I'm kind of going over the EPT parameters so people can keep up with where I'm at. It's your emotion of abandonment. I feel my abandonment with this, with the weight gain. The weight gain. So, and it's because you gave me several reasons, but if I just say that to you, does something pop in your head? I feel my abandonment with this weight gain because.
Because I don't have any control over the stay at home. I don't have control when I go back to work. I don't have control if I get the virus. I don't have control if I can find food at the grocery.
Yeah, that's all true. And because I don't have control, is weakening your body system. So that one, I don't have any control. So now I'm going to ask, is there an original time in your life when you felt a similar abandonment? I'm going to test that to find out the original memory for this. It's at birth. At birth, I felt my abandonment, needed to see if it was yours or mother's or someone else's, with myself, with the process, myself, what I'm going through, myself, actually myself, my process, I ask growth. I'm asking some other things that I've tested with people at this time where it's my process, not my growth, the process. I asked transition. No, it's process. Myself, my process. Process has a trigger on it because I don't have any control. So this is, have you done some birth pictures in your own work? Do you have any verbal accounts of your birth story?
Um, I really don't. I don't have I don't have any memory or really any knowledge that I can recall at this time.
Okay. So in the EPT world, going to a birth picture is sort of difficult because of that. If you don't have a verbal account of how it was going, then I've got to kind of extrapolate from your developmental age is very low. It's pre-verbal. You're just experiencing leaving, coming to a point where you're in the body of your mother and you were born normally. I'm asking, were you born normally?
Yes.
All right. So this is actually what we're looking for is sort of all the meanings that you bring to this and that your body, mind, and spirit respond to the meaning of, this weight gain now. But it's going back to a very deep, early developmental memory of abandonment. And so your body response goes back to that. So I'm going to say some statements that would have to do with forgiveness statements to help release the birth memory picture from that time, but then we'll connect it with now. First thing we got to do, though, is disconnect or interrupt the abandonment feeling. And do that, you're going to put a green on your heart and a green on your forehead and breathe in and out 3 times, thinking of that. Breathe. I felt my abandonment with myself at my birth process because I don't have any control. Well, of course you don't. It's a very natural thing. And breathe. We're just experiencing it at that age. And then you remove the magnets after you've breathed 3 times. I'm going to ask, are there any more emotions on this original picture? And there are. This original memory has another emotion on it, and it's liver, which is right lower rib cage. And I'm going to go down, it's anger, mother's anger at me at my birth. Do you know why your mother would have been angry at you? Huh?
No, no, I have no idea. She's
Are you the oldest
yeah,
child?
I'm the oldest, but she just always had an angry personality in general. She was just,
All
she
right.
was just angry.
And as far as you remember, you don't remember her ever talking about giving birth to you?
Um, not not really. They may have, they used to give gas to women. They used to put them under. They may have put her under. Um,
Okay.
I don't
But you
know if
don't
she
really
was,
have,
I don't know if it was a long process. I
right.
don't know. Maybe she was disappointed when she woke up with me. I don't know.
You know what?
Uh,
It's the same because on this picture is that she doesn't have control. Now, whether it was because she goes into
right.
labor and she doesn't have control, you got to push the baby out, or because she had gas, it's the same sort of basic, I don't have control.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the only thing I remember her talking about when I was born is that I was really hairy. I had a lot of hair, and she said I looked like a monkey. So she could have been angry at my appearance.
Well, that's not, that has a charge on it. My appearance didn't please her. And that would go with the weight gain now. My appearance doesn't please me. So it's still contact. So what I want you to do is it's going to be a green magnet over your liver and a green magnet over your forehead, thinking about my mother's anger at me at my birth. She doesn't like the way I look. Breathe 3 times and breathe. And breathe. And then remove the magnets. Is there another emotion? No, that's it. So we've got that. I'm going to ask, is it a trauma? Yes, it's a phase 1 trauma for you at this point in time. And that could just be because of the physicality of the birth. You know, it puts you into this, I need my mom, I need my mom.
Right.
Do you know if she nursed you? You were born in a hospital. Did she nurse you?
I don't think she did. I'm positive she didn't. First of all, formula was very popular,
Okay.
and I think they were pushing it like as more nutritious than nursing at that time. I don't think
Right.
she nursed me.
Right. And I find this a lot in birth pictures for people. Just that thing of being formula fed is against the nature of the baby.
Hmm.
So your natural self is looking for your mother and latching on your mother, and then you have to be trained to suck out of a bottle because that's the best you can get. It's the substitute they give you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very interesting. That kind of has a charge on it for me. Maybe because you're substituting your normal good habits and food with things that you wouldn't normally go to, but they bring you some sort of comfort
Right. That's
in the
possible.
immediate situation.
That's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So for phase 1 trauma, it's going to be a blue-green magnet on the right side of the head and a red magnet on the left side of the head. That's
Okay.
the magnet protocol placement for this particular one.
All right.
Um, I remember watching Dr. Annette do one of these. Oh, good. You've got a way to hold your magnets there.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Mine are
hold it
just
with my
demo
glasses.
covers. They're not real.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
usually use
So
a
I'm not going
headband.
to hold my. All right.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I remember watching Dr. Annette, and you and I are students of hers. So she said, I ask if their heart's been broken, if it's phase 1, phase 2. That's a new question for me over the last couple of months of watching her work. Although I
Mm-hmm.
know we're always looking for a broken heart. So I checked that question as well, but I came up with phase 1. So we're doing the phase 1 protocol on the magnets. And again, if you think of any statements, just stop me and, put them in there. We'll start with some statements. You can either, rub those fear release points on yourself if you'd like. That's good. All right. I acknowledge this weight gain with the current stay-at-home issues.
I acknowledge this weight gain with the current stay-at-home issues.
That has come out of stress and panic.
That has come out of stress and panic.
And having to do something different than I am normally doing.
And having to do something different than I'm normally doing.
And brave. I forgive myself for becoming aware
I forgive myself for becoming aware
of this memory of abandonment
of this memory of abandonment
and mother's anger
and mother's anger
from the time of my birth
from the time of my birth,
where I didn't have any control about how I looked
when I didn't have any control about how I looked
or how I was going to eat.
or how I was going to even eat.
Yeah, and brave. I forgive the circumstances now
I forgive the circumstances now
for triggering this original memory in me
for triggering this original memory in me
that was in my early development,
that was in my early development,
where I felt my abandonment with my process
where I felt my abandonment with my process
and my mother's anger with me,
and my mother's anger with me
uh, and my appearance didn't please her.
and my appearance that didn't please her.
And breathe. I'm actually thinking it's possible the process is that process of the nature of your newborn self that wants the mother, but you get a bottle. And that, of course, went with your relationship with your mother. She would substitute what she wanted to substitute for what you really was better for you. So substituting, and I think that that's kind of getting on the meaning of this. I
Mm-hmm.
forgive myself for substituting what I know is good for me now.
I forgive myself for substituting what I know is good for me now
Because of the situation where I feel out of control
because of the situation where I feel out of control.
and it brings me a level of comfort and distraction
And it brings me a level of comfort and distraction
from the current stress.
from the current stress.
Yeah, I'm brave. All right, so I'm going to take that idea of substituting and stuff, and we'll work on this birth picture resolution a bit more. I forgive my newborn self
I forgive my newborn self
for feeling abandoned with my process
for feeling abandoned with my process
because I don't have any control
because I don't have any control
to get what I really want.
to get what I really want.
Yeah, I'm brave. What I really want. I forgive my newborn self
I forgive my newborn self
for taking abandonment on myself
for taking abandonment on myself
just because that was the way my body assigned it.
because that was the way my body assigned it.
Yeah. When I didn't get what I really wanted.
When I didn't get what I really wanted.
And brave. I forgive my newborn self
I forgive my newborn self
for feeling abandonment and mother's anger
for feeling abandonment and mother's anger
as my own
as my own
when I was looked down on for my appearance
when I was looked down on for my appearance
and rejected for what I really wanted.
and rejected for what I really wanted.
Really wanted. Yeah, I'm brave. I forgive my I forget I'm going to do now. I forgive myself now
I forgive myself now
for avoiding the internal abandonment and anger I've carried
for avoiding the internal abandonment and anger that I've carried
and anger carried from the time of my birth,
from the time of my birth,
uh, through stress eating,
through stress eating,
um, and rejection of what I really want.
and rejection of what I really want
That I can't get when the shelves are empty,
that I can't get when the shelves are empty,
or when the governor says I have to stay in my house.
or when the governor says I have to stay in my house.
Yeah, and breathe. All right. Do you have any thoughts? Because I can keep going here. I'm going to keep going, but I want to know what you're thinking.
No, you're on track.
All right. That's a good thought. So I'm going to go back to the birth picture. I forgive my mother
I forgive my mother
for saying that I looked like a monkey,
for saying that I look like a monkey,
for making fun of what she was really upset about,
for making fun of what she was really upset about,
in rejecting my appearance.
and rejecting my appearance.
Appearance and brave. I forgive my mother
I forgive my mother
for not being there to give me what I really wanted
for not being there to give me what I really wanted
and giving me a substitute
and giving me a substitute.
and brave. I forgive my mother for being unwilling to give me what I wanted
I forgive my mother for being unwilling to give me what I wanted
and leaving me with feelings of abandonment and anger
and leaving me with feelings of abandonment and
and anger over my appearance
over my appearance
and things that I can't control outside of myself.
and things that I can't control outside of myself.
Outside of myself. And breathe. Even though as an infant,
Even though as an infant,
I couldn't control my mother.
I couldn't control my mother.
I couldn't make her show up the way I naturally wanted her to show up.
I couldn't make her show up the way I naturally wanted her to show up.
Show up. Yeah. And in that space of substitution and rejection,
And in that space of substitution and rejection,
I connected to my mother with abandonment and anger.
I connected to my mother with abandonment and anger.
Anger and brave. I forgive my newborn self for believing
I forgive my newborn self for believing
that the only way I can connect to maternal love,
that the only way I can connect to eternal love or maternal love, sorry,
yeah, maternal love naturally,
naturally,
with security and comfort,
with security and comfort,
happiness and approval,
happiness and approval,
is to control my response
is to control my response
uh, to this old feeling of abandonment and anger.
to this old feeling of abandonment and anger.
Abandonment and anger. And brave. Yeah, I forgive myself for resisting the abandonment and anger.
I forgive myself for resisting the abandonment and anger.
And anger by controlling my diet and how I look.
By controlling my diet and how I look.
In ways that feel good to me.
In ways that feel good to me.
And are natural for me.
And are natural for me.
And brave. Yeah. I forgive myself for using my power of control.
I forgive myself for using my power of control
To resist the abandonment and anger.
To resist the abandonment and anger.
That I felt at my birth.
That I felt at my birth.
Because I couldn't get what I really wanted.
Because I couldn't get what I really wanted.
And brave. All right. I say yes. No, let's see. I say yes to the resistance I feel.
I say yes to the resistance that I feel.
Or cannot feel.
Or cannot feel.
For the abandonment and the anger from my birth.
For the abandonment and anger from my birth.
I call it up out of my mind, body, and spirit.
I call it up out of my mind, body, and spirit.
And I release it with love and gratitude.
And I release it with love and gratitude.
Gratitude and breathe. I forgive myself for believing my greatest control is in my anger.
I forgive myself for believing that my greatest control is in my anger.
Anger and resistance to what's wrong.
And resistance to what's wrong.
Wrong. Rather than the security in what is right.
And rather in what the security that's right. You better repeat that.
Yeah, in what is right.
Say that again.
Yeah, I forgive myself for believing the greatest power I have.
I forgive myself for believing that the greatest power I have
is in being angry over what I can't control.
Is in being angry over what I can't control. See, I can't even get it out.
What I can't control. Yeah, I'm trying to say it a different way too, but it's the same idea. Okay, we'll just keep practicing until you can. I acknowledge the anger I have used as my power.
I acknowledge the anger I have used as my power.
To control getting what I want in my life.
To control getting what I want in my life.
And making things good in my life for me.
And making things good in my life for me.
My life for me and brave. Yeah, whoa, I got a big charge on that one. Whew.
Okay, so this is what's coming up in my head is I know that I get angry. I know I'm angry in my head, but I try to stifle it because it was so unattractive in my mother.
Right.
So I don't, people probably see it, but I don't show it, or I don't always, I don't have outbursts or yell and scream or anything like that. I'm just angry and I feel it in my head and in my body. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So it's the
So
anger of the
maybe, so
newborn you feel.
yeah, so that maybe
I,
that's some of the anger
go
that
ahead.
I'm resisting or not acknowledging, because I don't want to acknowledge it because I don't want to
Right.
be
And I want to,
angry.
right, resisting, not acknowledging. I want to say that's probably your newborn self who didn't want that bottled nipple, that fake nipple. That's not what I want. Babies scream when they have, some babies really scream and resist that because they're so hungry, and that is not what they want. They don't want the substitute. They want the natural, real thing. And
Mm-hmm.
not just the real thing. They want the mother that cuddles them and comforts them too, and loves them and adores every detail, no matter what it looks like on that baby. That's what the baby wants.
Right,
The whole package, right?
right.
So I acknowledge the anger in my newborn self. Let's acknowledge that anger there, because it's so much easier than all this gunk that's going on now. I
Mhm.
acknowledge the anger deep within me that I feel.
I acknowledge the anger deep within me that I feel,
Has come from this experience of my newborn self,
that has come from this experience of my newborn self,
who was resisting and rejecting and unhappy about the substitute.
who was resisting and unhappy about the substitute.
Yeah, I was angry that that's what they wanted to give me.
I was angry that that's what they wanted to give me.
It was against my nature.
It was against my nature.
Take a breath. My nature, and breathe. I forgive the people and the culture for forcing me to take a substitute.
I forgive the people and the culture for forcing me to take a substitute,
Substitute. And for my mother agreeing to it,
and for my mother agreeing to it,
because it's more convenient for her.
because it's more convenient for her.
I expand my heart
I expand my heart
for the grief and the disappointment
for
and
the
the anger I felt
grief, disappointment, and anger that I felt
as a newborn
as a newborn,
who had to take the substitute
that had to take the substitute
because I was too small to control what I was getting.
because I was too small to control what I was getting.
And I had to take my mother's ridicule
And I had to take my mother's ridicule
because I was too small to be angry about it and tell her that's not very nice.
because I was too angry and small to tell her that that's not very nice.
I didn't have the words to tell her, you're treating me wrong.
I didn't have the words to tell her that you were treating me wrong.
Yeah. And to teach her, she should have been teaching me.
And to teach her, she should have been teaching me.
And she left me alone to learn this on my own.
And she left me alone to learn this on my own.
Yeah, breathe. Yeah. I give myself permission to stop finding power from the resistance in this anger.
I give myself permission to stop finding power from the resistance in this anger.
It really charged me up as an infant.
It really charged me up as an infant. Are you still there, Sherry? I think I lost Sherry.
Yeah, and here is where we deal with tech issues. She's
Yeah,
probably got booted off and now she's going to jump back on any minute.
yeah.
But
Well,
you're
I lost her camera. I lost her camera 2 or 3 minutes ago, but I
mhm.
just kept going, and then she has a pause after her statements, and but it was too long.
Right, right. And I noticed she got booted off too. We were actually having some techie problems yesterday as well, but I'm thinking she's going to pop back on here any
Here
minute.
she is. She's back.
Yay!
I'm back. Yeah, thanks for waiting. All right, so
Perfect.
all
Thanks.
the energy is now, right?
Yeah.
No, I held it. I'm
Let's
good.
wrap. Yay, let's wrap this up with a couple concluding statements. Do you have some thoughts on this? I loved expressing that newborn's anger. Ugh.
Well, so my thought on that, as my anger as a newborn didn't do any good because I couldn't convey the message to my mother that this is what I want and need from you. So my anger didn't do me any good to express my anger. I could think it all I wanted, but expressing it then by crying or whatever didn't do any good. So now as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
I think it, but I don't express it because because it's not going to be
All
validated.
right, right. I forgive myself for believing anger has no purpose in expression now.
I forgive myself for believing that anger has no purpose
Go ahead.
in an expression now.
Expression now that I'm going to get the same response I got as an infant.
Then I'm going to get the same response that I got as an infant.
Where I can't control what I get from someone.
That I can't control what I get from someone.
And brave. Yeah. I say yes to understanding how to get what I want without anger now.
I say yes to understanding how to get what I want without anger now.
Without anger now, and brave. Yeah. And I understand I don't always get what I want.
And I understand that I don't always get what I want.
Get what I want, and brave.
So
I forgive myself for responding to. Oh, go ahead.
you go ahead.
Go.
I forgive myself for
I was going to say
responding.
I forgive myself for responding to the current lockdown.
I, I forgive myself for responding to the current lockdown
With anger and abandonment.
with anger and abandonment.
that made me feel like an infant who couldn't control or be acknowledged.
Like an infant who couldn't control being acknowledged.
Yeah, who couldn't control the outside circumstances.
That couldn't control the outside circumstances.
Yeah. And sent me spiraling with my weight.
And sent me spiraling with my weight.
And brave. Yeah. What were you going for? You had a comment or a thought?
Just that sometimes when I speak, I feel like I'm not being acknowledged, because when I was an infant and I tried to say what I wanted, I didn't get it. Nobody comprehended what I wanted. So it wasn't acknowledged.
Right. Yeah. I forgive myself for having the memory as an infant and through my life
I forgive myself for having the memory as an infant and through my life
of just being ignored
of just being ignored
and not getting validated or acknowledged
and not getting validated or acknowledged
for things that I wanted that would be good for me.
for things that I wanted that would be good for me.
Yeah. I acknowledge that memory and I call it up out of my mind, body, and spirit.
I acknowledge that memory and I call it up out of my mind, body, and spirit.
I say yes to it
I say yes to it
and I release it with love and gratitude.
and I release it with love and gratitude.
And that opens up massive space within me
And that opens up massive space within me
to have new experiences of acknowledgement,
to have new experiences of
acknowledgement, love in many ways from many people,
love in many ways from many people,
approval in the things that I choose for myself,
approval in things that I choose for myself,
and more support inside and outside of me
more support inside and outside of me,
with comfort and happiness
with comfort and happiness
that I can control now.
that I can control it now.
Control now and breathe. Yeah. I forgive myself for having the things outside of me that I can't control.
I forgive myself for the things outside of me that I can't control,
That have triggered this uncomfortable emotional memory in me.
that has triggered this uncomfortable emotional memory in me,
So that I could bring it up and heal it.
so that I can bring it up and heal it.
Heal it and breathe. So without this abandonment and anger, I'm free in my life now.
Without this abandonment and anger, I'm free in my life now.
To respond in anger and resistance to substitutes all I want.
To
I'm free to
respond
do
to
this.
anger and resistance, all I want, to things I can't
To
control,
stuff
all
I
I
can't
want,
control. Yeah, all I want.
all I
Yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah. And I am now free
And I am now free
to receive the approval and acceptance
to receive the approval and acceptance
um, in my appearance and in my head,
in my appearance and in my head,
um, in my closest relationships,
in my closest relationships,
knowing that I'm going to be able to easily control and lose this weight.
knowing that I'm going to be able to easily control and lose this weight.
Because I have a history of being able to do that, and I can do it again.
Because I have a history of being able to do that, and I can do it again.
And breathe. Yeah. I'm free to love myself more.
I'm free to love myself more,
Even though I gained weight recently.
even though I gained weight recently.
And I have listened to a lot of the panic and stress
And I've listened to a lot of the panic and stress
that is outside of me.
that is outside of me.
And breathe. I'm free to put boundaries on what I can control.
I'm free to put boundaries on what I can control
And what I take into my body
and what I take into my body
with security and gratitude.
with security and gratitude.
Yeah. That I'm going to do the best I can for what's good for me.
That I'm going to do the best I can and what's good for me.
Yeah, I'm brave. Yeah. All right. How are you feeling now? That feels good to me.
I'm feeling good. I'd like to forgive myself for any time I caused someone else to feel this exact same way.
That's a good one.
Hmm.
Yeah. I forgive myself for setting up situations in my life.
I forgive myself for setting up situations in my life
To justify the anger that I felt inside me.
to justify the anger that I felt inside me.
Yeah. And to use that anger to change my behavior.
And to use that anger to change my behavior.
Yeah, I'm brave. I now am able to change my behavior with love and knowledge.
I now am able to change my behavior with love and knowledge.
Love and knowledge, compassion,
Compassion,
comfort, and mercy.
comfort, and mercy.
Mercy, I'm brave. All right, I want you to take those magnets down off your head now. They've been up there a while.
Yeah.
Yay! If you think about that weight gain and I go back to your distress level, it's down to 0.
Oh,
Do you
yay.
feel any difference in your, do you feel different in your body and your mind? If you try to think about being angry and resisting and getting what you want by resisting with the anger.
I do feel different. I think before I was approaching it as an infant who can't verbalize their resistance and anger. and nobody can acknowledge it because I can't, verbally tell them.
Mm-hmm.
As an infant, they have to guess. They're doing the best they can, right? So they're like,
Right.
look, you've had your bottle, you've been changed, you're not hot, you're not cold. Um, I understand that, mom didn't know why I was upset.
Right.
So, now I feel like I can communicate that and they will understand it. And I don't have
That's
to not
cool.
communicate it
Yeah.
expecting that nobody's going to understand it.
Yay. So whatever those stuck emotions were in the original picture have basically connected and all the dots to who you are now. It all integrated well. Do you feel like you're going to be able to, like, how is your eating plan from here on out going to be?
Um, well, so the thing was is I didn't really feel like that I was overeating or like binge eating. But I was
Mm-hmm.
definitely just eating more of the wrong foods, not really larger portions, but I'm not a potato eater, and Bob Evans is my best
Right.
friend. I'm not a bread eater.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was just eating more of things that I don't normally eat,
Right.
not huge portions, but just eating it in general. And then that just becomes
Right.
a habit. So
So you think you'll go back to your other habit where you have more less calorie dense food or more of the weight loss foods, the foods that don't put on the
yeah,
weight.
yeah, the more healthier food for my body. Yes, I
Right.
definitely
That's
feel like
great.
I can, continue eating those healthy foods and eliminating,
Right.
the foods that my body really wasn't used to having. I'm
Right.
not a
In those
person,
portions. Right.
right? I'm not a really person that totally, just doesn't ever eat cake or anything like that. It's just in portion,
Yeah.
small portions.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
get it.
in
That's so cool.
moderation.
Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing how this goes for you. Yeah, it's
Okay,
great working with you today. Your
thank
numbers are
you.
good. Your distress is down to 0. Your stage of healing is up to 7. Your elation actually has gone up while we've been sitting here talking from 3 to +5. So you are like
Good,
on the mend already, which is great.
good. Well, I'll
Excellent.
definitely keep
Let's
you
see if
informed.
Dr. Annette's going to.
Yeah, and I'll let you know when I can fit
Thanks.
my
I'll
pants.
probably see you later in the year. Yeah, that's good. Are you going to come to LifeWorks later in the year?
In October, yes,
Do you know?
I know.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully see you there.
Okay, thank you, Sherry.
Yay.